All right. Well, good evening, everyone, and happy Wednesday. So excited that you have joined this call tonight. We really want to thank you for taking the time to join us. Rachel and I are so fired up. It feels like it's been a little while since her and I have co-hosted together with a lot of traveling going on in our lives, but we are so excited to share this revolutionary phototherapy technology that we were introduced to 22 months ago. We absolutely love sharing this unconventional healing modality because we have seen with our own eyes what this has done for us, our families, and the people that we have shared this with. So, we are going to kick things off momentarily, but just a little bit about who we are. So, I am Beth Blackmore. I'm a health and empowerment coach, and I started getting real passionate about health and wellness 7 years ago. It was 7 years ago this month when I feel like I woke up from my program mind and I chose to do something about it. I started making substantial lifestyle changes, food choices, eating habits. I lost 60 pounds. I ended up leaving my government career in HR, really due to a lack of medical freedom. And I really turned my passion into helping others. Into a coaching business. And so I consider myself a lifelong learner, open to new information and embracing change. And so when a good friend of mine reached out to me about a light patch, I was intrigued, a little skeptical, but definitely intrigued. So I invited Rachel on a call. This was May of 2024, and we were excited about what we were hearing, what we had our hands on, including the science, the company Lifewave, and the life-changing testimonies. So we signed up pretty much right away, and we did what any good daughters would do. We both patched our moms. So my mom had been experiencing knee pain for years, and within a few days, she noticed relief. She was actually going to physiotherapy 3 times a week. The physiotherapist noticed more mobility, less inflammation. She wondered what she was doing differently, and the only thing that had changed was the sticker that her daughter put on her. But it didn't stop there. She started sleeping better. She had more energy. She got back to the things that she loves doing, walking and gardening and swimming. And for me, there's definitely no going back. The first thing that I noticed that was I was finally able to sleep through the night, having vivid dreams, which really I hadn't had in years. I also used to have this lower back, this compression issue that I had dealt with for years, going to physio quite frequently. And I have not been back to chiropractor for 22 months. So I no longer have this lower back compression tightness. My energy, my mental clarity, my focus have improved. I also feel like I have this sense of calm, so I'm not as anxious in this crazy world. But what really fires me up is that I know that the best is yet to come. My body is healing and repairing and age reversing, as you will soon discover. There's also an incredibly exciting financial opportunity with the trajectory of this company. So, a little bit more on that a little bit later. And before we hear some powerful testimonials tonight and to kick off this call, I would love to invite my good friend and co host, Rachel Maurice, to introduce herself and share her powerful story with you.
Thanks, Beth. And thank you, everyone, for coming and sharing your valuable time with us. Time is one of our most valuable commodities. So I deeply appreciate you taking that out of your day to spend with us. So, my name is Rachel Maurice, for those who don't know me, and I worked as an anesthesiologist in Canada for close to 20 years. I left in 2021 when I was asked to do something that I didn't want to do. To keep my job. And so I didn't think that I would be gone for very long, but as it turns out, those rules stayed in place for 3 years where I live. And I started to realize that I wasn't going to go back because I started uncovering a lot of information in different areas. But one of the biggest ones, obviously, with my background, 30 years in medicine, had to do with health. And it was a lot different from anything that I had been taught in conventional medicine. And it really crumbled the whole foundation of everything that I understood in terms of how the body works. And that is based on light being the primary driver that runs everything in the body. So we're taught in medicine, everything's about the biochemistry, but upstream from that is light. So if you don't get your light right, everything downstream, it's like trying to empty a boat with a hole in it, empty it full of water, and it just keeps filling up. So anyways, I started doing a huge deep dive into light and red light panels. I'm sure many are familiar with. our mitochondria being at the center of that light information, that hub being a receiver and emitter of information. And that's how I ended up hearing about these patches that I first dismissed for about a year. And being human, I will admit that it was the person that introduced it to me that I didn't even look any further. And then it just so happened that a year later, when my mom's health was starting to decline, that's when Beth said, "Hey, I've got someone who's talking about these patches." And that happened to be someone, Diane Hunt. I'm not sure if she's on the call, but she was a cardiac surgical nurse for 20 years. And my mom's biggest health challenge was her doctors were talking about heart surgery, which I didn't want her to have to go through based on my experience in medicine. And she not only told me stories, but she was showing me investigations. So that satisfied my left brain. And people that were in heart failure after wearing these patches for 8, 10, 12 months, no longer having that same problem. So knowing how they worked, understanding about light, it was an absolute no-brainer to get my mom started on these because there was no harm that could be done. The worst that could happen was it was a waste of money. And how much money have we all wasted on things that actually don't come to fruition or help us? So we got my mom started. I prepared her to have some patience because we live in a society where that is not something that most of us have. And my mom is right there with everyone else. So I was absolutely shocked when, after using the patches for 2 weeks, we would walk regularly. She went from having to stop every 2 to 3 steps to catch her breath to walking with me for 20 to 30 minutes on an incline while talking to me at the same time, which made no sense to me from my previous understanding of how the body works. It does now, but still, that was really, it's unheard of in traditional medicine to see something like that without an artificial pump being put into the body. So after 3 weeks, she actually had to have some medication reduced by her doctor that she had been on for over 30 years. Since then, she's had, I mean, she had increased energy. Her sleep was better. She just had a glow about her that her friends in her same age category, she's 84 now, were noticing, to the point where they all wanted to start these patches, even though they didn't know anything about them. And one of her friends, who's 84, was complaining about headaches. And 2 months in, he still had the headaches, but he was no longer wearing reading glasses. So that was pretty surprising. I just started sharing with everyone around me, and including myself. I'm not going to go into detail right now. I can talk later. I just want to make sure that I'm respectful of time here, so we can get on with the presentation and have some other people share. And yeah, I'll be able to answer questions afterwards.
That's great, Rachel. Thank you so much. So I would love to call on Val. Val, if you can unmute and share your powerful story tonight.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. I was trying to do it on my laptop, but I had no camera.
It's all good.
Couldn't see anybody or anything, so I thought we're on the phone. Okay, so my story was, I was actually one of those lucky one patch wonders people. When the first time I wore the patch, I was having tea with some friends, and it was delivered, so I stuck it right on my neck, and within an hour, I realized that all the pain in my neck from 2 whiplashes over the years, I could turn my head. Like before, I always had to turn my body to turn my head. Well, now I could all of a sudden turn my head like a normal person. So that was my first revelation. And the second big thing, well, the big thing for me is I've always struggled with gut health. And I had surgery last year to help correct that. Well, the recovery wasn't going so well. And my dear friend Nikki introduced me to the patch, and it has changed my life. I feel like a new person. I can travel to Vancouver to road shows and not have to worry about where the bathroom is.
Amazing.
And yeah, it's been life changing for me. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other things. Of course, there's the sleep. Like I sleep like a log. I don't get up to go to the bathroom in the night. And my arthritic knuckles are all gone. My hands are actually like a young person's again. And yeah, I mean, I could probably go on for hours, but that's the gist of my.
That's amazing, Val. I haven't heard your story before, so super powerful. Thank you so much for sharing tonight. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Amazing. All right, I would love to call on now Reka. I think Reka came on and she's wanting to share. Oh, I see you. Yes. If you're able to unmute and share your story tonight.
Hi, good evening. Thanks
Hello.
for everybody for coming to this meeting. And thank you for inviting me to speak. So my testimony, I started patching 17 months ago, and I did not know anything about the patches, Lightwave, anything. My good friend Lynn told me to try it, and I just said, sure, why not? So um, I actually made a list of all the things I was suffering with. Um, Headaches and like pressure headaches for years, and they were getting worse and worse. And I was on a very strong medication for that. But I've noticed within 5 days that already significant improvement with the frequency and the intensity of my headaches. And I have not taken that medication since that time. It was a medication you could only take 6 times a month, and I had like 3-4 days of headaches a month. So I was suffering a lot, and was very debilitating. Sometimes it kept me in bed. I just could not function. So I would say 95% of my headaches are gone. I am sleeping better, and I was never a good sleeper, but when I wake up, I have good energy. I'm in good mood, and I feel happy. I had a spider vein that was showing on my leg, and it's disappearing. I had allergies, eczema, um, asthma throughout, like since a young age, and those are getting so much better. I have not sneezed once last spring. I am able to shovel snow outside, which I was not able to do in the winter time. And if you live in Canada, you know how essential is that. My eyesight has improved. I can't wait to go and see my eye doctor and see how it is. I've also put my family members on the patch. One of my sons had very bad cavities, prone to cavities. He hasn't had a cavity in the last year. I also put my mother on the patch, and we lost my dad a year ago, so she was grieving and deep depression after 60 years of marriage, and she came out really good with the depression and mood. She also had arthritis in her fingers, and she was not able to take she had a ring stuck on her finger, and she was able to remove it. Yes.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Rika, for sharing tonight. I'm happy for you. Love hearing
Thank
your
you.
story.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amazing. All right, so we are going to get into how this all works, and I'm actually going to share my screen and share a presentation with you tonight. If you could just let me know if you can see that okay. It's up on your screen. All right, so tonight we are talking about the most powerful tool for your overall health and wellness that already exists within you. And the founder, the inventor of Lifewave, David Schmidt, this genius, has discovered how to leverage us as the light source. So it's all about harnessing your own light. And so before we get into it, a really important disclaimer that Lifewave products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease or medical condition. This information is for educational purposes only and is based on Lifewave's extensive research and clinical studies. Okay, and so what exactly is phototherapy and how are we the light source? Well, phototherapy or light therapy is a natural process that we experience every day. So for example, when you go out into the sun, those specific wavelengths of light, they hit your skin, they hit your eyes, and they signal your body to produce vitamin D. The light of the sun is the signal that tells your body to start this natural production of vitamin D. But light doesn't just come to us from the outside, it also comes from within. We as humans, we all emit a low level infrared light in the form of heat. And we can't see this energy with the naked eye, but with thermography tools or the night vision technology, we can see that heat as visible energy. So similarly, Lifewave phototherapy patches, they act like a mirror for that energy, reflecting specific light frequencies back into the body, signaling biological changes at the cellular level. And really, what I love about Lifewave phototherapy is that it is really counter to anything that we've been exposed to by the conventional medical system. There is nothing on this patch going into your skin, nothing being consumed, nothing being absorbed, because they are non-transdermal. These patches are latex-free. They do not contain any drugs or chemicals or stimulants. There are no contraindications, meaning that they do not interfere with any medications. So it really is a completely different mechanism from what we are used to. The patch just simply consists of 5 organic materials, amino acids, sugar, water, oxygen, and salt that form this crystal lattice structure that reflect these wavelengths of light to stimulate processes within the body, including the production of GHK or copper peptide. And so what do we know about this mighty copper peptide? So first off, it was isolated back in 1973, and so it is well researched, it's well studied. We know that it boosts collagen and elastin production. We know that it supports repair and regeneration in the body. It's known to have multiple anti-inflammatory, anti-anxiety, anti-pain, and even anti-cancer properties. GHKCU is also known to reset over 4,000 genes in our genome. So basically resetting DNA to a younger, healthier state. It is actually known as the holy grail of age reversal. But what is truly exciting and what the research shows is that GHKCU reactivates our own dormant stem cells. And so stem cells, what exactly are stem cells? Well, they are your built-in repair and renewal system. They are the undifferentiated cells, those baby cells that become any cell in your body, from your heart cells to your lung cells, your liver cells, your hair cells, even your brain cells. But unfortunately, as we age, not only does GHKCU decrease, but our stem cells also, they go dormant. So by the age of 30, those healthy stem cells decrease by 60%. By 60 years old, those healthy stem cells decrease by 90%. And not only is the natural aging process contributing to our decline in health, but unfortunately, the world that we live in, this modern age of convenience and consumerism, we are inundated with toxins and chemicals and poisons in the air, in the water, in the food, in the man-made synthetic radiation everywhere. All of this leads to cellular dysfunction, and our bodies require healthy active stem cells to heal and repair the body. The fewer stem cells you have, the faster you age and the slower you heal. And so cue the X39 Phototherapy Patch, Lifewave's flagship patch that is patented and designed to increase the production of GHKCU and therefore reactivate our dormant stem cells. So I'm going to turn it over now to Rachel, and she's going to share the incredible benefits of using the X39.
Thanks, Beth. Okay, so everyone can see the slide here. Now it says the benefits of using the X39, and the power, as Beth just said, in the X39 is telling our body to make more of that copper peptide, GHKCU. So really the benefits that you see on here have to do with an increase in that copper peptide. So some of these are general, they're speaking to general wellness, but they are like what I have seen with the use of these patches it's now 22 months, I believe, that I've been with this company. I have never seen in the 30 years that I've been in medicine. I don't say that lightly. I don't say things that I do not mean. And so I really want that to land for some people. 30 years, and I've never seen what this patch has done for people. So an increase in energy and vitality. I think almost everybody would love some more energy. I know lots of people feel like they have to take naps in the afternoon. And energy, it's really undervalued just how important that is, because our body requires a certain amount of energy to run all of the functions, but it actually requires even more energy, a lot more energy for healing. And many of us are struggling with issues, and that means healing is needed. So an increase in energy and also that feeling that comes along, vitality, is really a big deal. Supports wound healing, faster recovery from anything that assaults the body, but not just for people who are ill. It's also for people who want to take their athletic performance to the next level. And so Olympic athletes, professional sports players, a lot of them are wearing these patches as well, because any kind of minuscule improvement means a huge amount when it comes to someone who is competitive as well. Improved skin appearance. And so this is a big one for people. Their skincare industry is massive. There's a lot of stuff out there, including lasers, and people doing Botox and spending huge amounts of money to tighten their skin, reduce spots, just make their skin look younger. And while that is something that is aesthetic, it actually is much deeper than just on the skin level, because it speaks to an increase in collagen production. And collagen, I take a little bit of time explaining this because it's extremely important for health. Collagen is actually the most abundant protein in the body, and it makes up 70% of the protein. And while we're not taught too much in medicine about, for example, connective tissue and fascia are made of collagen, and they form not just the infrastructure physically of the body, which hold things together, but they connect every single cell in the body, including inside the cell. And one of the biggest reasons this is important is because the way collagen is structured, it actually forms these little nanotubules inside nanotubules of water inside. And the way water is structured in the body, that is actually how light moves through the body. So light is the primary means of communication. It is the fastest means of communication. We understand there's biochemistry and nerve impulses, electrical impulses, but light is much faster, and it is the primary means of communication. So making sure that we have this water network, it's actually a quantum highway for communication in the body, and that is dependent on collagen. So collagen is massive when it comes to health. Improvement or an increase in mental clarity, enhanced strength and sports performance, which I mentioned, supports inflammation response, meaning it helps to reduce that fire that's in the body, which is actually foundational to almost all chronic diseases. So being able to help quench that can really help not just how we feel, but really reversing and a lot of the symptoms that we are experiencing. And improves sleep. That's also another big one that is undervalued. Although I know most people would love more sleep, especially as we age, that quality seems to decrease. But sleep is the time when our body does most of the repair and the regeneration. So once again, sleep and energy are absolutely critical. Those are the two most common things that are noticed right off the bat, is an increase in energy and better sleep. And so that really supports the way that our body can actually heal. So in terms of long-term benefits, within the first few days of using the patches, over 4,000 genes begin to reset to a more younger state. We don't necessarily feel this, but we have 4,192 genes that actually start to work like they are younger when we are younger. And just to give context to this, we only have about 20,000 genes in our genome. I was actually just listening to a podcast earlier today that was talking about when this was discovered. There was a study called the Human Genome Project, And they expected to find about 140,000 genes because that's how many proteins we make, but they only found about 20,000. So thinking about having over 4,000 genes reset to a younger state out of 20 is a huge percentage, especially when you understand that, for example, one of the other things that is marketed very heavily is something called resveratrol. That's the chemical that's found in red wine. Some people might have heard that red wine is beneficial. I would debate that. But having said that, you can go to a health food store and buy that bottled resveratrol for however much money. And the attention that it's getting is because it resets 2 genes. So 2. And this GHKCU resets over 4,000. Within 6 weeks, the brain becomes more balanced. And what does that mean? It means the right side of the brain and the left side of the brain are actually speaking to each other, which is what we want when it comes to health, so that when we've got proper communication, it can send proper information to the rest of the cells in the body so that everything is coordinated and working like a symphony, not haphazardly. Within 3 months, your collagen is increased, which is I expanded on earlier. And within 6 months, the heart reverses in age. And so just as we say here, it is recommended to commit to 1 month for every decade of life. But that is not for all the healing to take place. I just want to mention that while I'm saying this, that is just for getting the reactivation of the stem cells that are dormant. So healing continues to happen on a daily basis. So how to wear it. This is one of the things that I love most about these patches. And I know I probably can say that about everything that comes up, but it is by far the simplest tool that is natural and not harmful in any way that I've come across in my entire life in the allopathic medical system, but also in the holistic space that I've been in now for about 8 years. And there are a lot of great tools out there. They take effort, commitment, time. There's something that will often deter one from going out and seeking this. And I'm not saying that those things are not beneficial, but this is by far the simplest. It is basically a sticker. You can see as how small it is, literally like a quarter or a loonie or wherever you're from. And you peel the backing, you put it on your body. The placement there is where the research was done. That's why it's showing, those 2 different spots, but you can put it anywhere on your body. And you wear it, you put it in the morning, you wear it for 12 hours, you take it off after 12 hours. The reason you wear it for 12 hours is because, and then 12 hours off, is because you want your body to still respond to the stimulus. Just like if we were under the sun 24/7, then our body would just get so used to that stimulus, we actually wouldn't respond anymore. So 12 hours on, 12 hours off. There's still a little bit of life left in the patch, so you can do what I do, and what a lot of people do is stick it on their dog for the last little bit, or plant, and we've actually seen plants bloom that have not in 12 years using these patches, so that just goes against the placebo if anyone's going to bring that one up. And so as the previous slide said, you want to commit to a month for every decade of life. You really want to, at minimum, try them for 90 days. The research shows 97% of people see an effect by 90 days. So that is an absolute minimum. It's not something you say, hey, I want to try it for a week or a month, because again, the body takes time to heal. We've been so conditioned and programmed in society to want things so quickly, overnight, push the easy button, have a procedure, and you notice something right away. That's not how the body works. And when we want to do something naturally, which I believe is the best way to do it, we do have to be patient. So minimum the 90 days, really recommended a month for every decade that you've been alive. But if you're anything like me, I am all about prevention. I know I have a skewed view, but everything I saw 30 years in medicine, I do not want to have to go and access that system. So I will do everything in my power to prevent that. This is at the top of my list for prevention. It is the best investment that I could make myself, my kids, my mom. So yeah, that's basically in terms of how you wear it. You want to make sure that you are hydrated. I think it's on the next slide, Beth. Hydration and copper are important. So hydration, I spoke about earlier when I spoke about collagen, and I said that when collagen, the way it's structured, it forms these nanotubules of water in the body, and water is how light travels through the body. So hydration is absolutely key. You want to make sure that you are drinking well, but it's not just drinking water. I mean, I could talk about water for hours, but it's not just water. You want to make sure that you add some electrolytes into that water, because that helps hold the water in your body. It doesn't have to be a powdered electrolyte. I prefer the natural way of getting electrolytes, which is in unrefined salts. So meaning those minerals are still attached. There's about 80 or so, if not more. You can have a sea-based minerals through salts, or land-based through things like shilajit, fulvic acid, humic acid as well. I combine them. But that also helps to hold the negative charge in the body, which I'm not going to get into now, but that helps with the communication. Copper is important because, as we were talking about this whole time, these patches help increase that copper peptide in the body. So it doesn't mean that it is increasing the copper in your body. And I say that because this comes up quite a bit. It is not doing anything to increase what is already in the body, but it's like making a cake. When you have the right ingredients, you can make the cake and the cake will turn out. So you need the right ingredients in your body, the right substances. So this copper peptide, you've got 3 amino acids, which we can get from foods, glycine, histidine, and lysine. Copper is something that is needed as well. So if you're not taking it in, then it's hard to make that copper peptide. And copper nowadays is harder to get in our diet because of agricultural practices, but things that help and are abundant in copper. I'm sure everyone's favorite at the top of the list, organ meats. Yeah, I'm kidding, because what? Well, I don't know. Some people like eating organ meats, Beth. But oysters, seafood, shellfish. I know I use, and with my kids, a desiccated organ meat capsules. So that way I know that they're getting something that's bioavailable. The body can use it, and it's also balanced with other things in there. If you don't eat any meats, then avocado is rich in copper, nuts and seeds, in particular cashews and sunflower seeds, and probably everyone's favorite, little square of dark chocolate is enough copper for the day. Again, I just want to emphasize these patches do not increase copper in your body. You have to take the copper in, and it actually puts it together with the peptide to make the copper peptide. So it actually reduces any unbound copper, which is a good thing. So here we have some before and after pictures, and I believe this is actually someone on our team who had alopecia, which is an autoimmune condition where there's a problem with hair growth. And I believe, so it says alopecia for 10 years. They tried all sorts of things. Nothing worked. And the middle image is, 6 days after patching. If you can believe that, 6 days. And then on the right-hand side, 2.5 months, you can see, so the middle one, it looks like peach fuzz, but now there's a good inch of hair growth there, from what I can see anyways. And then on the right-hand side, this is a curvature of the spine, which you might know as scoliosis. And this one, every time I look at it, it's remarkable how the body can heal given the right environment and circumstances. And this was only 4 months of using the patches. So it says here X39, which is what we are talking about today, and also Icewave. So Icewave is just one that's specifically for pain. So it doesn't do anything to do with repair and regeneration. So this straightening out is specifically because of the X39. And here on the left-hand side, we have a lady that has what we term in medicine vitiligo. So you can see the left-hand image. There are patchy areas where there is no pigment. So it's lighter in color and it's really patchy and splotchy. And this woman tried everything and nothing worked. But when she tried the X39, that is when she saw results. And you can see on the right-hand side, the skin color is a little bit different, but that's not what's important. What's important is that is a nice uniform color all across her back. There isn't any patches or discoloration that is uneven. It's a nice uniform color. On the right-hand side, this might not look like it for some people, but it's a knee after a knee replacement. And this is using the patch for 2 days after the left-hand side, from the left-hand side to the right-hand image. And that is extremely rapid wound healing. I mean, I've been in the OR for 25 years, so I can tell you I've seen wound healing. This is very fast wound healing. And here we have what's called a topography map of a brain. So this is a 77-year-old woman. And on the left-hand side, the first image, session 1, she was not using the patches. And the red there shows inflammation. The dark blue is low activity, but what we really want to see is we don't want inflammation in our brain, but we want to see more of the green and the light blue, because that is coherence. And coherence means that things are working in harmony. Like I said earlier, the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain are actually speaking to each other. In the middle session, this is only 3 weeks of using the X39. There's no more red. There's no more inflammation. Just think about when you go to the doctor and they start a new pill, a new medication. If you're anyone that's taking medication, nothing happens within 3 weeks. They tell you you've got to try that for at least 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or 3 months. This is 3 weeks after using the X39, no more inflammation, a little bit more green and light blue coming in. There's a lot more dark blue. It's low activity. But on the right-hand side, this is only 6 weeks after using the patches. And again, no inflammation. And now you can see that it is abundantly light blue and green, which is exactly what we want: coherence, harmony, and everything working together properly.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Rachel. All right. So the man of the hour that I would love to introduce to you, we absolutely love sharing the heart of Lifewave, which is David Schmidt. So David is the CEO of this 20-year-old company. He started his career working for the U.S. government. He was actually part of the Navy SEAL survival program, where he was creating something that could keep the SEALs alert, mentally focused on missions that were of 36 hours. And that's where the first patch of Lifewave was born. That was when it was first created. That was his first patent. Then through David's networks, he actually found himself at Stanford University patching the US Olympics, the women's Olympic swim team. And they ended up having tremendous success. They set personal records. This was 20 years ago. Then in 2008, David turned his attention to stem cell research. And so after 10 years of research, $4.5 million by 2020, he had received a 20-year patent on the X39. And so this has resulted in tremendous growth for the company, closing out 2024 over $600 million. And so that is a 3,000% growth rate in 4 years. And so Lifewave has been recognized for this massive growth by Direct Selling News. So DSN honors companies with the highest year-over-year revenue growth on the Global 100 list. So these are companies that are not only scaling their businesses, but setting new benchmarks for the entire industry. So Lifewave has received the Bravo Growth Award for 2 years in a row now. And we also just earned one of the top recognitions in biotech and life sciences. So among industry giants, which included thousands of nominations from over 15 countries, Lifewave products won the Stem Cell Innovation of the Year Award in 2025. Huge breakthrough award for Lifewave in this area of life sciences and biotech markets. And so really there is no competition out there in the market. This is a novel product. No one else has this. No one else can have this with the 20-year patent. And so if you are feeling inspired and want to dive deeper into the clinical studies, the additional resources, I highly encourage you to check out the website. In the bottom right corner there, you can take a snapshot of that, the QR code. It takes you to thisisinfo.com. This is a great website for videos explaining the technology, David Schmidt being interviewed, doctors being interviewed, also powerful testimonials that cover everything from heart and lung function to vision and hearing improvements. There's also a whole category, a whole section on children. So great resources for you to check out. And so if you want to be the next success story, Lifewave offers 3 options to get started. And these prices are all in US dollars for a month's worth of patches. So there are 30 patches in an envelope, or what we call a sleeve. And so first you can enroll as a retail customer, paying that retail price of $150, $149.95 US. But of course, we promote getting you set up with the wholesale pricing of $99 US. So then you have 2 options. You can sign up as a preferred customer, commit to a monthly subscription, or as a brand partner. And so with the brand partner option, not only can you take advantage of the wholesale pricing, but you also secure a spot on the team. You can leverage the incredible momentum this company is experiencing by building a business without additional cost. There is no overhead. It is just the cost of your personal patches. And so signing up as a brand partner, there are 4 enrollment kits available to get you started. As you can see with these packages, the more that you purchase upon signing up, the better the value. You can then upgrade at any time through these enrollment kits, and you're just paying the difference, receiving the difference in the number of sleeves. That way you can have some on hand to start sharing with friends and family, loaning them out, gifting them to your aging parents. Loan them out to people as they wait for their order to come in. That's always exciting. And we do have also a very attractive compensation plan for those interested in building a business. So as a brand partner, you have access to an incredible leadership team, amazing training, support systems in place to grow your business. You do not need any prior experience in sales or network marketing. It really is all about having a passion to help people. With health really being the foundation of it all, because without health, really nothing else matters. So I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be open to learning about something that could quite literally change your life. I encourage you to reach back out to the person that invited you to this presentation. They can guide you, set you up with the best pricing and package for you, for your goals. We will be opening it up for questions. So for those of you on the call, stay tuned. But for those tuning into the replay, I hope to see you on the team soon and hear your powerful testimonials. Hope you have a great night, everyone. Take care.